Happy Monday.
Michelle's a little sick today, so,
A little under the weather.
Yeah, I'll do something I don't do a lot of, and that's talk more. I hate talking. And we're going to go back to the basics today, you know?
I love going back to the basics.
You know, I've been like, have a revelation the last few days, you know, that I think, you know, been brought to my attention that I think we're going a little bit too fast. I think we need to re-educate people. You know, Psychedelic Mondays is like our favorite time of the day. This is the time of the day to educate people.
That's right. Psychedelic Mondays, every Monday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Mark and I are live on Facebook, on our YouTube channel,
Instagram.
Medicine with the Meadows, Instagram, all of them. And
Wherever
it's an
you're
hour for you to just come and talk to us. We can talk all things psychedelics. You can ask us questions. We can talk about whatever you like.
Newsy news today, some news articles. I think we're going to jump into a little bit of microdosing today.
Yep, today we're going to talk all things psilocybin.
Yeah, I think that. You know, we'll go back to the basic psilocybin. We started in this path, like, I started with this path with that mother of all medicine, ayahuasca. You know, sometimes I really do. I think we seem to forget that. Everybody doesn't know about these medicines, you know. I think we've been in this space now for about 3-4 years, and it's, you know, we feel like when you're on a job that everybody should know this, and we don't. And there's such a small percentage that do.
Yeah.
So
there's still a big stigma to these medicines. And even though we are in this space every day, I mean, this is what Mark and I do every single day, all day. Not everybody does, and not everybody's familiar with these medicines and what they do. They're still in that.
There's still drugs.
They're drugs.
Drugs. Let's talk about drugs. You know, there's some good news articles this week.
What do we have today?
What do we have, Brian? What do we have?
We got regulators may toss cold water on buzz over
All these regulators
psychedelics.
again, huh?
Right? Drugs show promise as new treatment option for some psychiatric maladies.
Maladies.
Sorry. But experts see possible states, federal, and legal clash. What do you think about the legalities coming forward?
First of all, they say drugs.
And
Notice
first
how
of
they
all,
call it drugs.
well, it also says right up top there, regulators. You know, what are they regulating? I don't know what they're regulating. You know, the regulation should come from thousands and thousands of years of these medicines being used. But we created the regulation. We created the stigma around these medicines. These medicines have been used for thousands of years through all kinds of communities, all kinds of centuries. It's been how people found their source and, you know, healed their mental health. So regulators, again, are regulating something they really don't know about. And regulation, to me, I think, is the biggest part, is how can we make some money off this, you know?
I don't know, but here's what I think about these guys they're regulating. You guys tell me what you think, Brian and Shana. But I think that they've probably never even done any of these medicines.
Never.
Absolutely not.
They've never done any of them, and they're just going by what they were taught in school and what they were told by their parents and by society and by police and by everybody else that these are drugs and there's a stigma, and so I'm going to regulate them.
How can you regulate a plant, anyways? Is my belief.
Well, they've been trying to do it forever.
Yeah. But you know, it's another great story. How about this one with the psychedelic inside the boutique of mushrooms retreats? Celebrities, you know?
Yes.
Let's hear about this one, Brian.
CEOs, celebrities go for self-discovery. Outside of Vancouver, Canada, sits a massive estate where wealthy entrepreneurs, CEOs, celebrities, and athletes go for a luxury guided psychedelic mushroom retreat with the goal of reaching their highest potential.
Those are all those regulators.
All those regulators.
I love this. I want to hear this.
It's the Journeyman Collective, founded in 2018 by Rob Grover and Gary Logan. Hosting guests at the 7,000 square foot mansion located in Okanagan Valley.
Okay. Okanagan Valley. I love this.
I did too. Well, you know, it's more and more. This is becoming more and more prevalent. These psychedelic retreats for CEOs and big businesses and big corps. You know, big corps have to jump on this first. Those regulators, they have to jump on this before the American people are told that it's okay.
But how great that they're going to take their CEOs and go do something like this. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, they know. You know, I think in Silicon Valley, these medicines have been used for quite a while.
We were just reading an article, or we were watching something about this the other day about Silicon Valley. They have been using psilocybin for years now for their mental clarity and.
That's how those algorithms got so much smarter than us. What are they called? Algorithms?
I don't know, but I'd like to work for a company.
Algorithms, yeah.
I would like to work for a company that's where they took us on a retreat to go do psychedelics as team bonding.
Me too.
We're taking our team
Yeah.
to Brazil.
Yeah. Those that want to
Those
know.
don't go with us.
Those that want to venture into this. And we got one more good story this week.
Yeah,
What is this?
this is a raft of unanswered questions remain as Australia's first psychedelic therapy clinic opens. So this is the first one. The first psychedelic therapy clinic costing $24,000 for 9 months. Some experts say more evidence is needed on effectiveness of MDMA and psilocybin treatments.
9 months, $24,000 to go to get MDMA treatment.
That's a lot of
Sometimes-
That's insane.
There are some good things to this. There are some bad things to this. The money, that's insanity, you know. I mean, that's
Well, it's
insane.
happening
But-
here, right? I mean, in Colorado, in Oregon, one of our good friends, Jenna Clue, we're trying to get her on here. She is licensed in in Oregon. And the ceremonies there, I think $2,000
I
for
think
one
they start about
psilocybin
2,000.
ceremony.
But what I like about this is how they're doing extensive long-term treatments. You know, long-term treatments I think is really beneficial. There's going to be a certain class, especially like addiction, say drug addiction. People want to go to these drug treatment programs. You know, very, very prevalent across the country, and a lot of people are putting them. I think that using a treatment program of a 30-day long or something this magnitude and using that with psychedelics, what an amazing results.
Absolutely. So go away to 30, 45, 60 days
Whatever it may be.
of fully immersive spirituality, plant medicines, that kind of healing.
I don't know
take
the
that.
cost of 24,000, but you know, I think there has to be somewhat of a cost to this because there is a cost. There's going to be a lot of integration. I think getting away outside of your realm and deep diving. You know, I think for myself, I think COVID really helped like deep dive into these medicines for me because I think at the beginning, if I would have dumped into ayahuasca like I did in these plant medicines and just had to go back to the 3D world to work, I think it would have been a little different than being able to sit at home and integrate these medicines because jumping out and going right back to the same thing isn't always the right thing.
No, there's nothing easy about going on a big journey, going on an ayahuasca retreat weekend and then having to go get on a plane, go home, and go back to your life.
What is that? You know, what's that all about? And a lot of retreat centers go and do this too, you know?
Well, I did. I mean, when I lived in Colorado, and I came down to Orlando to go to Soul Quest, and it was amazing. But every time I'd come down and go, I'd have to get on a plane Sunday or Monday, fly back to Colorado, which is not an easy thing to do after you've had a journey like that, and then go back to work on Monday or Tuesday. That's crazy.
Just an experience after that, you know? It's all about the integration afterwards for myself, and I think for so many others. Medicine is such a small portion of this, such a small portion. And we should dive into the medicine today, you know? Talk a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about psilocybin today.
Psilocybin month, right?
I think it could be mushroom month, March. We'll just invent it.
It's the month of mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Yeah, there you go. And you know, this is a medicine that's really becoming really talked about right now. You know, it's like out there. Science.
It's the new avocado toast.
Avocado toast.
It's
Mostly
the Taylor
for mothers,
Swift of
you know.
mushrooms.
What is that, Brad?
It's the Taylor Swift of plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I wish she would come out and support mushrooms.
If she did, oh man.
Yeah, it blow up.
Right?
Well, she probably already does. You know, they want to promote the alcohol first.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but
Because that's legal.
yeah, but going back to the psilocybin, I think I feel right now it's a really a big push, a big boom, especially mothers. You know, mothers on mushrooms, and all these groups. I think the biggest growing group on social media is mothers on mushrooms. So
It is. We just watched a documentary, a 3-part series with Lisa Ling on Fox, and it was, what was it called? Renaissance, Psychedelic Renaissance was what it was called. And the third part of that series is she went to a place in Colorado. I think it was in Boulder, and she
Her
went
name
and
is
sat
Heather
with
Lee.
moms.
Yeah.
It was Heather. We're going to try to get her on. And she sat with moms who microdose, but moms who also macrodose, and the life-changing experience that they had with that.
So let's talk about mushrooms a little bit. Let's talk about psilocybin because, I think it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. People are still diving into this. They still think a lot of, there's a lot of stigma around these so-called drugs. But,
I hate that word.
psilocybin's a fungi and it's been around for since the beginning of time, basically. I mean, it's actually the connector. It's
great connector.
The great connector. There's so many kinds of mushrooms. I mean, psychedelic mushrooms, non-psychedelic mushrooms, healthy
Psychotic
mushrooms, psychotic. There's
Those are the
deadly
craziest
mushrooms.
ones.
There are so many. I mean, they're just
bad
the
guys.
great connector. And I think in today's society, we're missing that connection. That's where we've been separated away from for so long.
Yeah. I always tell all of Mama Dose's clients that mushrooms are psilocybin is the great connector. It connects you to yourself. It connects you to source, whatever source is to you. To me, I am source.
And it's
We're
a great
all
way-
source. And it connects you to the earth and to all inhabitants of the earth.
And it's a great way to start on this path. A lot of people ask us these questions. We have a great sponsor, Mama Dose, who does really, really well in this space of microdosing. And, a lot of people think, am I going to trip? Am I going to go on a journey? Am I microdosing? No, you're not. Microdosing a very small perceptual dose of psilocybin. Probably
You're
point
taking a sub-perceptual amount. It's about 1/10 of the amount that you would take to go on a trip. I hate that word, but that's what people can
journey.
understand that word. We say it's a journey. But it's about 1/10 of the amount, so it's not enough to give you a psychedelic experience, but it is enough to give you the benefits of psilocybin.
Yeah, and the benefits take a little while. I mean, people think they're going to take the psilocybin one day and wake up the next day and everything's
And their life
fine.
has changed.
No, there isn't. This is a process. The process works a little bit quicker with macrodosing, but for microdosing, it's going to be an extended amount of time. I would navigate your journey after about 3 weeks and look back and see your changes because there's definitely going to be changes, and mostly are going to be a more of awareness, probably a more positivity, probably a more upbeat in the step, probably not so much overthinking, and probably an ease with the alcohol. Alcohol is really
Absolutely.
Alcohol and cigarettes kind of, if you're on those, it will kind of wean you off of those, and
Well, psilocybin allows you, like all these medicines, it's once you start understanding its benefits and realizing the benefits, you start to let go of things that don't serve you anymore. And alcohol is one of those. Cigarettes are one of those. I tell everybody who microdoses with Mama Dose that to do it for a minimum of 90 days. A lot of people do start realizing the benefits after the first couple of doses. But not everybody does, right? We're all showing up to the medicine in different states, at different places in our lives, in our physical life, in our spiritual life, in our where we are with our traumas. So we're all showing up to the medicine at different places. So it's going to take a while. So I tell everybody you do it for a minimum of 90 days. You track yourself, how you're doing for those 90 days. And people will call me after 30 days or 60 days or 45 days maybe and say, I don't feel it. I don't feel it. Keep going. Keep going. What's going to happen is all of a sudden you're going to realize maybe, I'm not having that racing thought anymore. Or, I just realized that now I wake up and I'm sort of singing in the shower and, I'm looking forward to my day instead of dreading it.
and
Well, I just always say to people, when you go on a journey or you go do ayahuasca or one of these big medicines, they call it. I call it getting hit with a psychedelic 2x4. Psilocybin is much more subtle. You're going to realize the same benefits, but it's going to be a lot more subtle. So it takes a
microdosing
bit of
psilocybin.
time.
Yeah,
Microdosing. Yes.
Yeah, microdosing psilocybin is a lot more subtle. Let's talk about some side effects too, because people are saying, some side effects of this medicine. I can tell you probably two of the biggest side effects, even on microdosing, is going to be anxiety and probably a little bit of stomach issues. But I think the anxiety is because it's the unknown. You're going to have a little bit of, your body regulates, your temperature regulates, Some people majority, I'd say about 80% feel absolutely nothing. They just
Right.
feel more clarity and more awareness. But
But that anxiety is also, psilocybin brings about what brings to the surface what needs to come to the surface, right? And so
of course,
if you're anxious to begin with, boy, it's going to bring that anxiety to the
yeah.
surface. I had somebody tell me, one of our microdosers, she had been microdosing for about 2 months. She said, I'm really angry. I never thought of myself as an angry person. And now all of a sudden I'm just pissed off all the time. I wake up and I'm mad and I don't understand what I'm mad about. And she worked with that for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then that sort of passed as well. And what happens is it brings to surface what's going on. It brings it to the surface. So she had things come about and it was bringing it to the surface. That's okay.
And to speak to that, I mean, I don't advise this to everybody right away, but the macrodosing is where, the catapulting or the
Yeah,
excelling
that's a good
of,
word.
yeah, of your traumas and what I'm searching for will really catapult a lot of these things. So the macrodosing is a lot of where your healing will take place. I think this is something that definitely, ever first time, you need to be sitting with somebody that's experienced. I feel that also this is the process. I mean, this is when you go through a journey like that, a bigger macro dose, you're going to really have to process this for a little while afterwards, and having a coach or somebody that's been down this path is a good person to lean on.
Can you
Mhm.
explain what the what process do you need to go through for people that are new, people that are getting into this space? What does processing look like to you guys?
Well, after a journey, let's talk about a journey, like a macrodose journey. If we're talking about a microdosing process is going to be a little different. It's going to be a slower evaluation of your daily routines. That's why Michelle's really correct. Everything needs to be kind of noted and navigated. You have to kind of some kind of journal. Um,
Yeah, because the process is daily, and you don't really know what that's going to look like, how you're going to feel, what's going to happen. And like that woman who anger was coming up for her, that didn't happen at first, came up through the process of taking the microdose every day. So it could be different for everybody, and that's why it's important to track your progress and really see how you're doing. And I'll tell you, this is a process also. Almost every single person that microdoses with us with Mama Dose always inevitably wants to macrodose, even if they've never gone on a journey in their life.
mhm.
And everybody that we talk to, I tell them that this happens. And I say this is going to sound totally crazy, but once you do it, you realize that it's truth. It's like your body starts to work with the mushrooms and you start to understand them. And inevitably, those mushrooms call you and you want to go deeper.
Mhm.
Always, you just do. And so we help people to do that. So it's the process of getting to that point of understanding how to macrodose and then understanding the process of what happens during that journey and processing it.
Mm.
It's kind of like we're all kind of like an onion, and like when we come when we come to this path, I think we're closed because we're not told how to feel in this world. So we kind of
Well, you're told not to feel.
not to feel. So each layer, even if it's on your microdosing path, each layer is being peeled, and you're kind of like you're really starting to feel again. You're starting to feel your feelings, and we're not used to our feelings. So sometimes that can be overwhelming to some people,
Mhm.
even on microdosing.
Mm.
It's just these bigger, deeper journeys are really where the healing, like the catapulting of the healing, really works. And I think going back to what you say, the question was, everybody's journey is a little different. Everybody's journey and when they're going through times is different. So how they process that afterwards is all different too. I mean,
But at the same time, all these people that I mean, I'm observing on our end as producers, all these people are coming back with the similar story of just breaking through.
Mhm.
breakthroughs. There's something to be said about a breakthrough. I mean, I think that takes a little bit of. I don't know if it takes time or a moment. I think you have to be ready. You have to understand what a breakthrough is. Psychedelics are an easy. Psychedelics are they're a wall, they're a barrier, and it's really you never know what you're going to cross, because we have always been told to hold things back. So breaking over each of those walls is what psychedelics do. You're kind of peeking over that next, what's behind there. Okay, I'm ready to go see that. Okay,
And
I'm
for
ready.
me, those breakthroughs are understandings
Yeah.
and acceptances. That's what it is for me. It was a breakthrough of really fully understanding, accepting for what it was, and learning not to be attached to it anymore. So not being attached to that story.
Yes.
It's just a story. It's just something that happened.
We all get attached to our feelings. We have to attach, like this cup has a feeling, or what did Michelle feel today, or we're always attaching a feeling to an emotion or how we feel. If you let things flow, they're going to go by, and we have over 10,000 thoughts a day. I mean, if we hold on to those 10,000 thoughts, which most of us do, that's where our monkey mind starts happening. And we just keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And this is what we do to ourselves. So we overthink every day, and we think to ourselves about nothing. What psychedelics does is it really calms that monkey mind down. Like, most of us have a bigger monkey mind than others. Some of us really don't. But I call it a monkey mind, and psychedelics just kind of stop that. But these breakthroughs, when you have these breakthroughs, they kind of eliminate that. That whole thing goes away. And now you have to where is that? You're kind of searching for that monkey mind, but it's not there anymore. And kind of you settle into this new space. It's really hard to explain, but that's how
And
it
it
works.
also, it's a process of coming to understand what's important and what's not, and therefore all these things that, like, I used to think was really important, and they're just taking space up in my mind.
Yeah.
So the process of letting those things go and understanding that really doesn't matter. It's so hard to put it into words.
I mean, a lot of it sounds like it's just a lot of letting go of control.
Totally. Exactly. I don't have control over that. I don't have control over that.
And I think that the one thing that we are scared of in this life is dying, right? And I think a lot of people are trying to control their own death, which it sounds ridiculous, but I think that is the end goal for everybody on this planet.
Well, because I feel too, Brian, I think everybody thinks about death. I used to. I mean, before I was on this path, I used to think about die, how people die. What's it going to be like when I die?
Especially as we're getting older too, right?
We think about death, of course. And these psychedelic experiences will show you that death is the prize. It's really... I don't want to tear up right here, but death is like the game. Death is the game. Death is, we're playing this game, and death is our prize. Death is what we're really looking for, because in a psychedelic experience, you die so many times.
It's so easy to forget, though, because I'm still scared of dying. And,
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, in my last Bufo experience, I fully experienced what happens when you die. I know that I did. I know that I did. Well, I don't know, because I haven't died really yet, but I think that I did. And it was so beautiful. And I kept saying through my whole experience, like, I get it, I understand. And so now here I am 6 months later, and I don't really remember. Like, I've forgotten already. And so now I'm scared again.
I think, but hasn't death become more comfortable during these paths?
Yeah, I think now when I think about death, I think that I'm going to know when it's happening, and I'm going to go, oh shit, here we go. You know what I mean? Because they say that it's just like it's the same thing as the DMT experience. That's what happens when you die. It's the ultimate DMT experience. So yeah.
I think what we think about the most is death, is the others. I mean, we think about, what's our mom going to do? What's our sister going to do? But at the end of the day, we're not even going to know. So we don't know, because we are just energy in a body. We're just energy, and when the energy goes, it's going to go. I mean,
well, I know this. I know that people that are close to death, who are sick, we talked about a year and a half ago with a death doula, and she uses psilocybin with her patients for end of life experiences to calm their anxiety about death and to help their families understand. So, every time I hear somebody's near death experience, very similar to an ayahuasca or to a, not just ayahuasca, but to a DMT
Yeah,
experience.
Or
I've
any
seen a lot of
psychedelic
YouTube videos of people explaining that very same thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's along those same lines, Brian, when you say, people all sound the same, not sound the same, but they have similar stories. And I know what you mean. It's hard to pinpoint it, but everybody comes out of these with the same knowing, understanding. I don't know what words you want to use.
I think I became more comfortable in my body. I became more comfortable with me because, I don't know, because I began to realize that really other people's opinions and that nothing matters, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It really doesn't matter. Things don't really, we make things matter, but they don't matter because they just don't. And
but it's hard to explain that to
put that into
somebody.
words and to say, what do you mean it doesn't matter?
Of
But
course it matters. My phone's going to get shut off.
Yeah.
My bills do, or that matters.
But now you know what? Your phone was going to get shut off 50 times in the last year, 50 more times, because that mattered. But you eventually paid it. You eventually figured it out. So we're making things matter that don't matter. It's just a repetitious of the matter. So what I think it does is we have a default mode system in our body. And a default mode system keeps us thinking and doing the same things in the same patterns and those same ways. Psychedelics
break that.
And Gabor Mate explains this the best. It will just explode that default mode system and erase it. And that's why I say when you do a big journey and when you really have a breakthrough, I mean, there's a difference between a psychedelic journey and an absolute breakthrough. A breakthrough is going to be just mine. It's going to be life changing. And not everybody, even on this path, can get there. But it takes a lot to get there. It takes a lot of overcoming your fear, and it takes.
Well, it's not a one and done. It's when we say process. I mean, I think this is a lifelong process.
Right.
This is not just it's not a one and done. I mean, the first time I did ayahuasca was almost 5 years ago, and I'm not even. I mean, it's like the further down this path I get, and the more I start to understand, the more I realize I have to learn.
But breakthroughs isn't like you would walk through the heaven gates of heaven and say, boom.
I'm here.
Breakthroughs are going through the depths of hell and coming out, and then the heavens open up. You have to dive into some dark shit to come out.
Dark shit. Mm-hmm. And then those breakthroughs are also, if this makes any sense, is when you get to that situation again, because you will have that situation again, whatever it is, and how you handle it.
Yeah.
That's the breakthrough. Yeah. That's the work. You do the work, and then therefore next time this comes about, I'm not going to handle it the same way. I'm going to choose the tools ready next time.
You got the tools ready for next time, yeah.
What was that part?
You got the tools ready for next time.
Sure, everything's a tool. You know, Brandon Picard, in the beginning of this path, he had a really, and he still does, has a great integration.
He's an amazing integration coach.
And he used to always say, we get these tools, and then we grab the tool, and we know a tool to use in that situation. We're kind of just, we're all writing a chapter, and we're all using different tools to write these chapters. And
it's never finished. The work is never done. I mean, you can't have somebody say, well, I've been down this path, so I understand. And it is lifelong. We are lifelong. I was on Brandon's call last week, and we've been going to that call for 4 or 5 years now, and it's not just for newbies, right? It's for people who are been down this path, and maybe you're struggling, and maybe you're doing well, and one day you're doing great, and the next you're struggling, and that's life. Yeah, that's what the integration is about. It's a continual process. You never get there. You never achieve it. You're never healed fully. It's a lifelong process.
Yeah, because what if it's not? What is it then? I mean, if you're not always learning from lessons or doing something or evolving, what are we doing? We're just living. And
I want to keep remaining teachable. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday we were having this discussion.
That's a great word.
Yeah. And she's saying, I'm so humble right now. She's going through some really difficult times. She said, I just feel so humble. I have to ask for help, and that's humiliating. And I said, there's a big difference between humiliating and humble. Yeah. Humble is beautiful. When I'm humble, I am most teachable. I'm closest to God, whatever that looks like for you.
Because think about your
is a
parent, think
beautiful
about your
place.
dad or your grandfather, and they're unteachable. Most of them are. You tell them something, they're not gonna. They're you become unteachable after a certain time, and when you become unteachable, you become almost just you're not growing. You're just
You're not growing.
you're
You're
just sitting.
stagnant.
Because now you've taught yourself everything you want to know. When does that happen?
Mm.
So it really doesn't. And just all these things we have learned through this process. I mean, like Michelle said, like I'm not going to wake up every day and it's going to be butterflies and fucking rainbows. But I'm going to
No.
tell you, if it's not, I'm going to have a tool to understand that. And, even though assholeism comes out or dickishness or however I propose myself at that moment, I don't stay stuck in those moments.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
It makes total sense. And here's the other beautiful part of it is you are fully aware. So even if I'm stuck in my 5-year-old temper tantrum, which
know.
of course I still get into, I mean, fuck, we all do, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So even when I'm in that 5-year-old temper tantrum, and there's sometimes when I don't want to get out of it, I'm enjoying it. I
Mhm.
want to be pissed off. I want to be angry. I want to be throwing a fit, whatever it is. I still am aware of it. And that awareness is what these psychedelics help bring
Yeah.
to the
But
surface.
and I think not even psychedelics, but I mean breath work, meditation. It's getting out of your mind. It's just getting out of that whole
Mhm.
daily routine, that whole routine of what we do. I mean, think about anybody's daily routine. I mean, anybody in the audience out there, what's your daily routine? You're going to get up in the morning. You're going to pick up your phone. First thing we're going to do is pick up our phone. It's the very first thing. Then you're going to just be on your daily routine. Then you're going to go make your coffee, take the shot.
Pick
That
up your
then
phone.
changes. I mean, so that's our programming. Boom, boom, boom. If maybe throw something different. Maybe don't pick up your phone for 20
Joe
minutes.
Dispenza talks about that.
Yeah.
He talks about that all the time. Switch up
Mhm.
your morning routine. You're
Just
so stuck in
5
that
minutes.
routine.
Just to change something different. Go make the coffee before you go to the bathroom. Just something to put a little damper in your daily routine.
Mhm.
So it really
Switch it
works.
Well,
All these small things work.
let's go back to talk about microdosing because this helps with all of that. And we've got somebody on here. Maybe she'll jump on and talk to with us because I see she's talking about. She said my breakthrough began with a muffled grating sound.
Mm.
Yeah, the breakthroughs can come through in any ways, but microdosing. There's different ways to do microdosing. It is taking a small sub-perceptual amount of psilocybin on a regular basis for a set period of time, and then you can switch that up. We recommend doing it the Paul Stamets method, which is 4 days on, 3 days off. There's Dr. Fadiman, which is another method. He recommends doing it 5 days on, 2 days off. And this
Hey.
is what Mark and I tell everybody is it becomes very intuitive and there's no wrong way you can do it. So maybe it works for you better 2 days on, 2 days off. That's okay too. These are just
Maybe it
recommendations.
depends on you, one in the morning and one at night. There's also a proponent here of antidepressants. Like there's a big antidepressant proponent here. A lot of people come to psychedelics because the science is there with your antidepressants and how it can wean you off these. Now, there's only one counteractive medication to psychedelics, and that is lithium. So
To psilocybin.
to psilocybin is lithium. Besides that, psychedelics is completely safe with anything, even alcohol. I mean, there's really nothing but it's the counteractive effects with your antidepressants that are going to be your barrier. Because
Right,
they're
those
working on the same,
SSRIs.
they're working on the same receptors. So they're battling each other. One's keeping it closed and one's trying to open it up. So in these kind of cases, we can't give medical advice, but there's people out there like
No, we don't give medical advice.
Ben Malcolm, great course to get you and wean you off of your antidepressants. There's a lot of ways to go out here. This is a individual path. This isn't like a one pill fits all kind of thing. And microdosing is pretty amazing, but there's tools we need to use with it. There's meditation. You have to make changes. You can't just pop a pill and just think it's going to work.
It's not like your pharmaceuticals that you just take one every morning, same time.
Do the same thing.
It's not that. That's not what this is about. There's more to it than that. There's putting practices into place. There's moving your body. There's putting water into your body. There's
great thing to do.
healthier food choices.
Great thing to do. Take your microdose before you go on that morning run.
Yeah.
Or it gets boom.
Absolutely.
opens up your day so well. A lot of people put in their coffee, and I'm a firm believer of your non-psychosis also, like your lion's mane and your cordyceps and
Oh, the
your turkey's
functioning
tail. The
mushrooms are so
functioning,
important.
I think if anything, lion's mane. Just add lion's mane. And, I don't prefer the capsules with that. I prefer more of the tinctures. But, lion's mane is a great additive to your microdosing. And some people like the niacin. For some people, niacin will give you a niacin flush.
Gives you
It'll
a flush.
make you feel a little weird.
So we're
So just be
also
aware of
starting to
that.
offer the cacao caps, which
Beautiful.
cacao is it's ceremonial cacao, so it's just dark chocolate, basically what it is. And when you mix the cacao with the psilocybin, cacao is a heart opener. And so it very much opens up your heart to the psilocybin. Plus, cacao also, what is the word I'm looking for? It brings about whatever else you're taking with it.
Yeah.
So it really brings on the psilocybin and the benefits of it. So we have started, Mama Dose has started offering a psilocybin and cacao mixture, and it is quite beautiful.
It is. It's such a nice heart opening day, These are natural medicines. I mean, at the end of the day, these are natural God-given substances.
Here's a question we get. Well, I'm a nurse and I have to take a drug test. Is this going to show up?
Nope.
It's not. Okay, well, we can't for definite say that, but in
Unless
the
they're doing
5 or 10 drug panels,
50.
5 or 10, psilocybin is not in one of them. They have to do a special test for psilocybin, and it is quite expensive.
Yeah, quite expensive. And at the end of the day, a lot of nurses are really looking into these medicines to Western world medicines aren't working.
30% of Mama Dose's microdosers are first responders and vets. So that includes nurses, that includes our first responders, law enforcement, and vets.
And it just goes to show you, the news article this morning about psychedelic CEOs taking these people on their trips and these ventures to open up their minds. Psychedelics are going to do this. Psychedelics in general.
Well, we were going to head down to, and this is, still likely going to happen next year, but we were going to go sit with for an ayahuasca ceremony down in Texas, a bunch of Dallas players who were going to do it as a group.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It's becoming mainstream. But as Mark said earlier, we think that more people know about it than they do. So we're here to really bring awareness, break the stigma.
Brian and Shayna, they're up in California, and we met them six months ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know nothing about this space. I think they're pretty intrigued now. Are you guys intrigued by this space? Or what do you think?
Yeah, Shayna, what was your breakthrough last week that you had when we were talking?
So I had an interesting breakthrough. And you'll find this interesting because I see a correlation between doing psychedelics and doing work on yourself. And I had spent a lot of time, I had the luxury of being able to take basically a year out of my life. I had experienced a lot of trauma that I had just never dealt with. I took a year off from my life and I just focused on me. And I read books. I took the time to listen to my body, listen to my thoughts, think about process everything. I didn't take the time to process things. And the breakthrough that I'm having is I think what I realized is that is what psychedelics do for people. That is the same thing. And that most people we're not able to take a year out of our life to just focus on ourselves. And I was an odd case in that regard. But if we need to do it on a weekend or if we need to do it over time, I think that's really where psychedelics can come into play. They can be part of our daily lives. I think that's the big message that needs to be out there.
Yeah, they could definitely be a catalyst.
And do you find, you're in LA, which is sort of the cool spot to be, that people know about this or don't? Are people microdosing a lot there? Do you hear about this a lot?
The interesting thing is I don't. And that's what's confusing to me, that I don't hear about it. I do, a couple times I'll see some some talk about, and this is more on the cannabis side. You'll see something here and there about, ask us about mushrooms. It's like it's still a hidden thing. So it's kind of like a behind closed doors, behind the counter thing. Yes, we carry some, but we can't promote it. We can't sell it at this point. So it's so very secret. And, there's no education about it. It's kind of like, it's still kind of an underground thing where we are.
Meanwhile, fentanyl's everywhere.
Yeah, we got lots of fentanyl.
Exactly.
So, what's your opinion in the last few months?
So my opinion, just in being associated with you and Michelle and learning from you and being part of this podcast, hearing everybody's experiences is so amazing to me, because it's like they're all saying the exact same thing. They're using different words to say it, but they're all saying the same thing. And that is so amazing to me, because there's nothing else on this earth that you can actually say that about. Everybody
What do they say? What do you think they're saying?
Yeah, what do you hear?
Well, they're all having these amazing breakthrough experiences, and it's always a positive thing. I haven't heard anything negative.
Even if the negative trips are a factor, they come away with a positive experience.
Yeah, we haven't heard anybody say anything negative, have we?
Like, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's never happened once.
When you're in that, it would.
Yeah. When you're in it, you're like, I'm never doing this again.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like you
It's
survive
been-
it, you know?
It's been it's a learning experience for us too, because, I think we talked the other day and this morning, like we think everybody should know about these medicines, because we see all the benefits and we live in this world.
Right.
And it's such
This is our life on a
This is
daily
our
basis.
life.
I mean, this is all Mark and I do.
Yeah. And the stigma is so deep still. It's just so deep. And we just push every day, push every day, push every day. And I think the more we push and the more people see the awareness and the beauty. And, there is another way. There is something else besides this. Even if it's just, let's try it once. I can say one thing about psilocybin. There's not been one death that's ever been recorded. I mean, there's
Nobody's
never
ever
been
died
one.
from psilocybin.
Nobody's ever died
No.
from psilocybin.
Body.
So, I mean, educate yourself and explore and trust yourself. I mean, I think those are the three things, is just trusting yourself.
I
because
always say that to people.
it's
Trust
not-
yourself, trust the medicine.
Yeah, because it's not going to hurt you. None of this is going to hurt you.
I hear people talk about, even if they had an experience recreationally, that they got something out of it.
Yeah.
Something happened, so
Yeah.
there's some
There's such
kind
a
of-
big sector of society, and it's been really pointed out to me lately, that are missing out on this. And that's who we have to reach. I think that's where we need to start really navigating a lot of our attention to. Because I think, when you know this path, you know the words, you know the terminology, you already know where to go. When you don't, you don't.
But people are so stuck. They're so
Yeah.
stuck in that. But these are drugs. These are
Yeah.
drugs. And, Mark always tries to counter that with, well, who told you that? Who told you that? My parents, my teacher, my
Yeah.
police officer. Well, who told them that? It's not truth. Just because someone told you that, it's not truth.
Like, it's so
just
funny
not.
to me when you just watch one, just turn on that TV and watch one pharmaceutical commercial. I mean, the whole commercial is not about talking about the benefits of the medication at all, because it won't. It will just show you a bunch of people hopping
Smiling.
around, smiling. It will never tell you anything's good about these. It will always only tell you the negative side effects, everything watch them, just watch them, because it never says what it's for. It says what it's for, but it will never say this can heal. It will never, because they can't.
It masks the symptoms.
It
That's all these
masks.
things are doing, are masking the symptoms so that you don't feel.
You'll see Bobby over there laughing and Susie over there flipping her hamburger, smiling, and
Flipping her hammer.
it's nothing doing nothing. It's a manipulative money grab. And I'm not saying that all pharmaceuticals are bad.
There's a
It's
time and
just-
place.
You know,
There's a
there's
time and place.
You know what's
place.
interesting is the pharmaceutical ads and the beer commercials are very similar.
They're
I know. Everybody's
very,
happy, and
very
if you take
simple.
this or you drink this, then you'll be happy too.
Yeah, we laugh because it's so funny. I mean, you know, you see these people all sitting at a bar. Go to a bar at 3:00 in the afternoon. You see the people that are sitting in the bar.
It's
You think
very
any of
sad.
those fuckers are happy?
Listen,
You know,
we were
it's just
watching
not.
TV yesterday, and there was a commercial for Jack Daniels.
Yeah,
And everybody's sitting in the bar. It's daytime because it's
Yeah.
daytime,
Yeah.
and everybody's singing "Sweet Caroline,"
Yeah.
bum bum bum, and everybody's going like this,
Yeah.
and they got their Jack Daniels,
Yeah.
and it's like, just have fun with your friends if you got that alcohol, and it's just it's so mind blowing to me. But if you eat a mushroom, you're taking drugs.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's baffling to me that at one moment that anybody can say alcohol is safer than psychedelics. It's just because what psychedelics actually do is they show you that you're an alcoholic. They show you
Right.
that you're a drug addict. They show you that this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
I mean, they will make you well aware of that really fucking quick.
Yeah.
And it's for you to say, laugh at that and say, ha ha ha. Or for you to really
Or
look
to
at
take
that
it, right,
and say,
and change your
okay,
life.
I can change.
That's what happens. That's what happens with psychedelics. You either take your journey and you change your life with it, or you just say whatever and keep going about your way.
Yeah. That was funny. That funny, fun guy just made me laugh. And then you got to say it both ways. I mean, we talk about psilocybin a lot because we know psilocybin is going to be the Western world medicine. We just know it's just safe. There's bigger medicines. Like, you want to really get there, go sit with Aya, go sit with Mother Aya, go sit with Father Aboga. I mean, you want to see your life like catapult in so many different directions. There's where, but there's a process to these medicines. You know, I would never tell somebody, this is what I think you should do. Go do ayahuasca. There's integration there's before, there's so much. You just don't dive in. You just don't go. You kind of really educate yourself.
Educate. And that's what we're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
With all of our platforms, we've got the Plant Medicine Path. We've got our directory, which is going to be coming out soon. And we've got Medicine with the Metals, Mama Dose. Medicine with the Metals, we come out here every week and talk on here. We've got our podcast. We really try to get the information and education out there.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. Information, education. And I think the best thing we do, and Shayna touched on it, stories. Psychedelic
Our
stories
psychedelic
are so
stories.
important because this is where you see people. This is where you see your mother, your doctor, your lawyer, they've all done, most of them have experience into these experiences. And here's where they're going to tell you what their experience was like. Don't just listen to us. Listen to these people. These people they're a prime living proof of these medicines working. Do they work overnight? No. Do they work? Yes.
But it continues to be a process. It's not a one and done. This is a lifelong practice. It's a lifelong practice.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. It is. It's a path. Yeah.
And I think for our Monday, I think our journey is over for today.
Yeah, this was a good one. I appreciate Montgomery coming on, and I just want to touch on this because she says she was talking about her breakthrough began with a muffled grating sound, and that's so interesting to me. And then she says breakthroughs always begin with a sound, like a tearing of a fabric.
Yeah.
I had to really think about that one. I mean,
Mm.
okay, I'll talk about this. So, and Montgomery, if you're still watching, maybe you can relate to this. When I had my big breakthrough journey on ayahuasca, and I was sitting in the Maloka, and this was down in Florida at Soul Quest in their beautiful Maloka, and somebody who I later got to know really well as Bob, who has passed, but Bob was volunteering, and he was sitting there, and I was on the ground, and he was on a chair, and he had on Tiva sandals, and he went to go do his shoe, like that, the Velcro tearing of his shoe. And this is loud. I mean, we're in a Maloka. There's 50 people in there. There's music blaring. And I heard that. I heard it, and it was so loud that I was like, like, what the fuck was that noise? And it was Bob's shoe. And then I had my breakthrough. So I think you are on to something here.
Well, she
Montgomery.
is because
It really is.
Yeah, because I think before my breakthroughs, I used to hear children crying and screams of babies and cry, you
my
know,
God.
children yelling. I don't hear that too much anymore. But
That was a
yeah, breakthroughs.
wow. I just remembered that, and it was so loud, you guys. It was like you think sounds are they're so intensified when you're on these medicines. It was quite scary, and in real life you would never hear that.
Never.
Thank you, Montgomery. We love you too. I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. So every Monday, 10:30, we're going to be here. Please subscribe, Medicine with the Metals, our YouTube channel. What else?
Next week.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Thanks everyone.
Brian and Shayna.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank
here we
you.
go.